welcome to Calming Yoga. I'm Amalia, and I'm here at the Vista Wellness Center. Looking forward to spending a little bit of time with you today. I'm grateful for you being here. Please have a comfortable seat or a comfortable plop onto the floor or a chair. I don't think I will ever not say this at the beginning of a practice, but I like to start my classes generally with a brief seated meditation, and the purpose of a meditation practice, or the way that I like to begin a yoga class, is so that we come a little bit more fully into the moment that we're inhabiting. And if you choose a shape, if you put your body in a shape that is so uncomfortable, it's really hard for our brains and for our nervous systems to get that message that we're arriving to do something that is nourishing for the body and calming for the brain. If we're, having our knees yelling at us, or our backs are screaming, or you just can't sit still because it's not comfortable to be in the shape that you picked, I would suggest a different shape. And it doesn't need to look a specific way. It doesn't need to be a yoga seat. I know that for many, the whole phrase comfortable cross-legged seat is an oxymoron, so you don't have to have a seat at all. Yay, Laura, I'm so thrilled to hear that. Okay, good luck with your vaccine next week. So once you've found whatever shape is workable for you this morning, settle into it, and if you like, you can close your eyes. You could just cast your gaze down toward the floor so the eyes start to soften. And let your breath happen. Not trying to control or change the breath for right now. Just having a moment to notice that it's there. This is a simple enough practice, getting quiet and breathing, but that doesn't mean that it's an easy practice. So in an effort to help your mind, your body come together to get behind this endeavor, you can lengthen up through your spine, and you can do this even if you're lying down on the floor. The distance between your tailbone and the crown of your skull can increase. We're actually drawing nutrients into the discs in the spine, the fluid that supports the spine, the bones. And at the same time, you can invite your hips, your tailbone, your legs to become settled, softer and heavy. And just be open to being breathed, however that function is happening right at this moment. You might start to observe small things about the quality of your breath this morning. Like, is the inhale longer than the exhale? Is the exhale longer than the inhale? Where do you feel the body expanding as you inhale, or contracting as you exhale? Maybe what particular things occur to you as you draw the body toward stillness. So those might be physical things that you notice, like your hands resting on your legs or in your lap or on the floor. Might include the sounds in your environment. It might include the mood that you're in right this minute. Just noticing. And we do all of this, again, not for the purpose of changing or reorganizing or improving the way that things are now. That may come along later in the practice, but more to have a sense that you're placing yourself in this moment. Like if you were deciding to go on a hike and you'd want to see that you are here, a little star on the map, so that you have a sense of where are you now and where you might want to be going. And then sometimes I like to offer myself this reminder, and I'll offer it to you as well. If you look around at the natural world, we don't see that animals and plant life are resisting their natural impulses and urges to show the way that they feel or to show their efforts. So if you're looking at like a bulb slowly pushing its green shoot up through the ground, it's not taking sidelong glances and saying, oh, I hope nobody sees me working at this, right? Or like you see a cat that has been scared by a barking dog underneath a car, and the cat isn't necessarily trying to put on a brave front. Sometimes they do. But the cat might really look like, oh, I'm scared, I'm defensive, I'm puffing up my fur right now. So occasionally our yoga practice can serve this function of being a place where we start to soften that tendency we as human animals have to mask the way that we are relating to the world, to put up that little bit of barrier so that, we look socially acceptable. Our emotions and our efforts are not readable because we need to protect ourselves. And if you're in a space in your day or in your life where you do need to hold that barrier for your own security and safety, respect that, I respect that. If you're in a place where you feel like maybe you can start to just peek over that little wall, you can start to slightly thin the veil out, is something that you consider as we move into our breathing practice. So let's take a slightly deeper inhale, starting to fill the low belly and the lungs from side to side and the chest from front to back. And the exhales can become a little bit deeper. The belly can draw back toward the spine, moving out old air, old habits, old patterns, old thoughts. And take a few more, just slightly deeper breaths. And it doesn't have to happen all at once. It can be like gradually turning the dimmer switch up on the breathing. One more full inhale and complete exhale. And now we're going to practice together Kapalabhati, which is the skull shining breath. So I joke that if you ever woke up and looked in the mirror and said your skull isn't shining enough, this is the breath for you. But it also means that which illuminates the mind. So what we'll do for Kapalabhati is to take a small to medium inhalation, so not your biggest, fullest, and deepest inhale breath. And then you're going to begin a series of rhythmic exhales that go out through the nose. And as you breathe out through the nose, you can put a hand onto the belly and feel the belly button draw back as you send that air out. And it has a little bit of a sound. It is a slightly percussive exhale. And following that exhale through the nose, on the inhales, you just let the breath rise up and come back in on its own. So let me give an example, if this is brand new to you, of Kapalabhati, the sharper exhale through the nose, the natural inhale arriving. And know that you can practice this at your own pace, so it can happen quite slowly or quite quickly, and either one will be just fine. So a medium sip in. So you can join me whenever you feel ready. It's nice to have a hanky, a tissue box nearby. And just see whether you can really practice relaxing the belly, relaxing the diaphragm in between those exhales. So the inhalation is welcome and you don't feel like you're steadily running out of air as you go. Let's continue a few more rounds of Kapalabhati. See if you can keep your shoulders, your face, and your jaw soft. Your spine rising upward as you practice. We'll do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale all the way. And now as you inhale, sweep your arms out and up. You can do this even if you're lying on the floor. Just snow angeling arms out to the side and overhead. And then exhale, bringing your hands down through the heart, and we'll press the palms toward the floor, moving some of the mental dust bunnies out of the way. And then resting hands by your sides or in your lap. Let's take a natural breath in and out, so no breath control, nothing to worry about. And now we're going to have another round of Kapalabhati, so inhaling through the nose, a medium sit in. Let's begin. Please continue with your pace of Kapalabhati, noticing that it's more on the inside of the body where this action is happening. So we're not flinging or flailing the chest or the head or the neck around with the breathing. It's actually a fairly subtle action. More work for the inside, the respiratory diaphragm, the lungs, and for the outer body. We'll go here 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe all the air out. Relax the face, the fingers, the toes. On your inhale, sweep arms out and up. And then on the exhale, pressing the palms down through the midline, so right down across the nose, the throat, the heart, the belly, and clearing away, sweeping the mental dust bunnies out from underneath any little corner of the mind. And then we're going to rest here, a full breath in and out. You can take stock, place yourself on the little map. You are here. Sometimes things have shifted already. Sometimes you're just here in the same spot that you were a minute ago. That's all just useful information. When you're ready, flutter your eyes open. Come over onto your back. Once you lie down on your back, bring your knees into your chest. You can hug the knees in. If it feels good, you can rock a little bit here from side to side. Massaging the back body against your yoga mat or towel or whatever's underneath you. Maybe take a few circles with your knees. Circling in both directions. Again, noticing your breath, just that it's here. You are breathing. You are alive. And then we're going to rest the left foot down to the floor and hug the right knee in. And if this is all feeling comfortable in your low back, you're welcome to explore lengthening out through that left leg. Now press the left thigh bone down into the floor if the leg is long. If the foot is on the floor, knee bent, press the footprint into the floor on the right side. Now as we inhale, we're going to take the right knee up over the right hip. So you're moving this thigh bone away from the body on the inhale. And then on the exhale, drawing the knee back into the chest and moving the belly back toward the spine. So really emptying out of all of that air on the exhale. Do that again. Inhale, move right knee away. And exhale, draw right knee in. Any amount. This can be big movements, small movements, just so long as there's some movement, some breath. Inhale, take right knee away. And as you exhale, bring your knee in towards your chest, maybe just a quarter of the way. But let your exhale last even longer than the movement. So it's still a full, soft, complete breath out. And then inhaling right here. You've taken a couple steps on the hike and you're looking around at this viewpoint. And then exhale, bring your knee in another quarter of the way. So maybe just an inch of movement, maybe even less. Full exhale out. Inhaling, we're taking in this new view. Exhale, another quarter of the way in with the knee. And inhaling right here, feel your shoulder blades on the floor, the back of your head on the floor, dropping into your body. Exhale, let's do the final quarter in. It might feel like the knee hardly moves at all, but you're really doing this work on the inside. So deep back release, maybe some psoas release happening here. And then on your inhale, move the right knee away. And as you exhale, bring the left knee into joint. And again, whatever feels good here. A few circles, a gentle rock. Circle your ankles. Let's go to the other side. Right foot on the floor. Left knee in toward the body. If your low back is comfortable, no tension, no tightness there, you could explore extending your right leg out long, and then really tap the back of that right thigh bone down into the floor. Press your heel forward so this right leg is long. Now, even though the left leg is into the body, let's also imagine we can make the left leg long. So there is a little bit of a sense that the left hip is trying to move away from the left low belly, left ribs. We can inhale and move the knee away as we continue in that direction. And then exhale and draw the left knee in. And as you draw in, the belly softens, the face softens. Really let that breath go all the way out. Inhale, knee away. And exhale, draw in. Now we'll start to move incrementally. Inhale the knee over the hip. As you exhale, bring the knee in just a quarter of the way, but the breath is still long and full. So quite possibly the breath lasts a good bit longer than the movement does. Inhaling here, looking around, gathering information. Exhaling, bring the knee in another quarter of the way. This is one of those magic yoga poses where it doesn't look like you're doing anything on the outside. Inhaling, full breath. Exhaling another quarter of the way, but really on the inside, we're doing everything. Deep release, hip flexors, low back, psoas, abdominal muscles. Last exhale to bring the knee in a little bit more, really softening at the front of the thigh bone, across your collarbones. Good. And then inhale the knee away, and exhale the right knee joins the left knee one more time, a little rock, a wiggle, a sigh. Making noises aloud is encouraged. It's all totally legal in yoga. When you're ready, place your feet right underneath your knees. Inhale, sweep your arms toward the ceiling and then back into the space behind you. We're going to practice rolling bridges here. As you exhale, you'll bring your arms back up as your hips rise up. Keep exhaling as the arms go all the way down by your sides. Your hips can lift a little higher. Your tailbone lengthening for the back of your knees. That inhale will release. Hips go down as the arms glide up and reach back. And then exhale, curling the tailbone toward the ceiling, sweeping the fingers through the air. Eventually, at the bottom of the breath, hands come to rest down by your sides. And I like to do this and imagine that I'm moving my body through a viscous liquid like honey, helping to slow things down so we can actively begin again to lengthen or deepen the breath here. Sometimes in the day-to-day life, breath just gets shorter. It gets a little constricted, a little bit restricted. Sometimes it moves just into the upper chest. We kind of forget that we can breathe soft in the belly. Some of us are the opposite. The chest gets a little frozen. So just see where the breath might feel welcome as you invite it a little bit deeper, broader. So again, these can be really small movements. Maybe you're just curling the tailbone, lifting the hips a few inches. Your last inhale here will stay with the arms up overhead, and as you exhale, lengthen your legs out on the floor. Place your fingers together, turn the heels of your hands away from your body. So now you can reach up through the arm bones and reach down through the heels. You're trying to stretch yourself out like a rubber band. Take an inhale breath here as long as you can through the side waists. And then as you exhale, let all of that go. Unlace the fingers, soften through the arms and the legs. Curl over onto the right side. Take your time, easing over to your side, and then use your hands to slowly bring yourself upright. So we'll stay seated, just a couple of seated asana or practices here on the floor. And again, take your time to make your seat comfortable. Maybe you want to slide a blanket underneath your hips for that little extra bit of lift. Maybe you want to move into a chair for this part of our class. Just take a simple inhale as the arms reach out and up. And then on an exhale, right fingers go down by your side, left arm reaches up and overhead. Starting to open the side of bodies. Inhale, reaching up through center. Hips descend, tailbone down. Exhale over to the left. And inhale, rising up through center. Exhale, twisting to your right this time. Letting the hands glide down. Letting the gaze soften down. And then inhale, reaching arms up to center. Back body can lift with you. The back of your ribs wants to come on to this ride. Exhale, twisting to your left. Just moving the spine here through some of its range of motion. Inhale, back up to center. This time, exhale, fingertips rest onto the shoulders, and let's stir some circles here in both directions. So forward circles to begin. Imagine you have some paint on your elbows and you're trying to paint as much space out on the walls beside you as possible. And then reverse direction. So basic joint mobilization here. Let's release the fingers and bring palms together. And roll your wrists. And something that I've noticed just in the last week, probably after years of being somebody that I like to think that I know things about my body as a yoga teacher and somebody who is just generally interested in anatomy, there is a way to roll your wrists that feels really pretty easy and natural. And then if I try to reverse that direction of the wrist circles, my brain halfway explodes. This feels really hard and really unnatural. So see if you can reverse the direction of that circle that you've been making with your wrists. See what happens. Good reminder to laugh at yourself a little bit if you also have a semi-brain explosion when you try to do that. Right? We're not needing to take ourselves too seriously. You can shake out your hands when you're done with that one. Good. And then let's come over onto all fours or tabletop pose. Now from tabletop pose, we're going to tuck the toes under, lift the hips up and back, and go right into downward facing dog. Now, hopefully you know by this point in practicing that if downward facing dog on the floor is not a friend to you, you have the option to practice this with your hands on a chair, so long as the chair is secured on the floor with a sticky mat underneath it and this isn't going to go flying away. So you can start with some movement in your downward facing dog. Maybe shift your shoulders or your hips, or tread through your feet, pressing the entire palm down into the floor on each hand. Lifting your sitting bones up and back, keeping the back body full as you inhale, and softening your head, your neck as you exhale. Good. And then you're going to walk toward the front of the mat. So you can take your knees and bend them as you walk in, and let's walk wide. So we come into this wide-legged forward fold. Down to the seat of your chair or just draping down toward the floor. Letting the upper body ragdoll toward the legs. Nice and soft through the limbs. And then drive down into your feet. Bring your hands up onto your waist. Extend through your spine, and on an inhale, you're pressing down to rise all the way up. So we've made quite a lot of progress actually already, going from the floor to the hands and knees to upright. So take a few moments here to reorient, to place yourself on the map, just to see how things are going for you. You're taking this time to be in your body. So how does it feel right at this moment? What's your mood? Where's your breathing? Is it safe to allow yourself just to notice? Great. Then let's take another practice of joint mobilization. You can step your right foot just slightly back behind your left foot and come up onto the top of the foot. I'm going to make some little ankle circles here, gentle ankle circles around in one direction and then around in another. You can always have your hands to the back of a chair or to a wall if this gets too wobbly. And then let's do the other side. You may have some snap, crackle, and pops. If your ankles are like my ankles, it's guaranteed to be a percussive part of your yoga practice. Both directions on the left side, just like you did on the right side. Good, and then stepping your feet right underneath your pelvis. Inhale to reach out and up. We're gonna go back into side bending. And then cross out your wrists. And I can see that I didn't tilt my screen enough and you won't be able to see my hands unless I adjust that. So, let's see if I can get my hands into the picture. I'm crossing my wrists, but in my knees we have it like this. So palms have come together. And then as I inhale, I'm gonna get really tall from heels up to fingertips. And as I exhale, I'm gonna reach the hands over to the left and let the hips move over to the right. And on the inhale, spin your chest up and to the right, like you're turning your belly button, your ribs and your gaze toward the ceiling. And as you exhale, root down into both footprints. Legs get longer. Inhale, come up to center, unhook your wrists, cross the other way, exhale, side bend to the right, hips can swing to the left. Same thing here, inhale, turn the belly, turn the ribs, turn the gaze up toward the ceiling, exhale, lengthen down through the tailbone, the legs, your footprints spread out into the floor. But inhale, coming up to center, unwind your wrists. Exhale, arms sweep wide. You can think again, clearing the mental dust bunnies out of the brain. Good. Let's take hands up to opposite shoulders now. You can stay steady in your footprints. And we're going to just draw a little circle here with the top of the head up on the ceiling. So imagining like the paintbrush was on your head. You're making these little circles up on the ceiling above you. And we're not really moving with the knees, the ankles, or the hips. So most of this movement coming from above the waist. Let's go in the other direction. Good. And then release your hands. This time hands go to the hips. You can put a little bend in your knees. And let's make the circles with the hips now. Easing out any accumulated places that are tight or tense in the body. Your breath, as you go in the other direction, your breath can really help you here, especially on the exhales. Can you sink more fully into that exhale breath? Letting that go. Bring your feet a little closer together. Bend your knees, hands go right above the knees on the thighs. You're gonna make the circles now with the knees. So this one will really move into the ankle joint, like challenge your balance a little bit. When we brought the feet together, we narrowed our base of support. That's up to you how deep you wanna go with these knee circles, how big or how small. My favorite yoga dance move of the moment. Let's reverse and go in the other direction. So in a way, these might seem like small things, circling the joints, moving the body, but these are the essential movements that our joints need to stay healthy and stay happy. And any one of these things makes a great little sort of middle of the workday intervention. Feeling foggy or creaky or sleepy, just try circling your wrists or your shoulders or your knees. Good. Let's let that go. Step a little wider again, and we will just circle the wrists out to the side. And as you're circling your wrists, start to bring the arms up higher and higher and higher until you're reaching up and overhead. And then circling your wrists in the other direction as the arms start to descend. And this is a great one for those of you that are spending a lot of your day at a computer, using your wrists, using your hands, releasing and softening through your face. Go ahead and come all the way down. And practice a standing twist. So stay firm in your footprints again for this one. And often when we twist side to side, we let the low body move with us. That's what we've been doing in a lot of our Thursday classes recently. For this twist, I want you to try to keep your lower body steady and have a little bend in your knees. And just do a twist that is moving from above the waist. So arms and shoulders are moving here, head and neck are moving here, but lower body is not moving too much. And that might be in a smaller range of motion. And that's just fine. And let your arms have a little bit of momentum to help carry your body from side to side. You can do this one seated if you're not in a chair that has arms. Otherwise, those do get in the way. Good, let that unwind. Full breath in. And sigh it out. So we warmed up a lot of the major joints in the body. Let's see how the body feels when we take it into a little bit more of a fluid style of moving, not linking one posture into the next. So if you are on your yoga mat, stand up toward the front or one of the short edges of your mat. Place your feet comfortably underneath your body. As you inhale, reach your arms out and up. And as you exhale, hands come right down through the center line. Take your hips back, bend your knees. This forward fold is going to be easy on the back. You can only fold as far as feels comfortable for you, so make that the priority. And then as you inhale, step your right toes back and let your right knee come all the way down to the floor. Good. And as you're exhaling here, step your left hand up onto your left thigh, spin your belly to the left, your gaze to the left. You can have your hand on the block here. Take an inhale, looping the left shoulder back. And then as you exhale, return your left fingertips to the floor. Let your palms step back into plank pose, inhaling in plank pose. As you exhale, let's come down onto the belly. So you could bring your knees down first and then bend the elbows. Set the tops of your feet down on the floor. Slide your palms forward. Forearms can stay down as you inhale up into Sphinx pose. Good, let's exhale and stay in Sphinx pose. Let your tongue come out and lift your eyes up toward the ceiling for lion's breath. And that feels so good. We're going to do it again. Tongue in. Inhale the breath. Exhale, open mouth, sigh out, tongue out. But inhale, tongue goes back in. Forearms root down into the floor as the heart goes forward and the legs extend back behind you, lengthening out. And then as you exhale, heart goes down, hands go way back so that they're underneath the elbows. As you inhale, press through your hands and knees, moving past table pose. And as you exhale, go down where you're facing up, hips up, palms rooted down. Let's take a full breath in downward facing dog. Good. On your next inhale, bring your right foot forward between your hands. Left knee down to the floor. As you exhale, step the right hand up onto the thigh bone, spin the belly to the right. I'll stay here on the inhalation, loop your shoulders onto your back. Hug your right heel back on the floor and your left knee forward so the hips gather in toward the center. Exhale, take the right hand back to the floor, lift your left knee up off the floor. As you inhale, step forward, Glide the heart forward away from your thighs. Exhale to bow, softening the backs of the legs, the neck, and the face. Let's inhale, drive down through the legs, reach arms out like airplane wings and arms all the way up. Exhale, bringing the palms of the hands right down through the midline. Clearing, grounding. Inhale, we'll do this again. Inhale, reaching out and up. Exhale, hinge hips back, bend knees, fold forward. But this time on your inhale, start by stepping your left foot back, left knee down. Exhale, right hand to the right thigh bone, spin belly to the right. As you inhale, gather the hips together. See if you can loop the shoulders onto the back. Breathing fully and deeply into your ribs, your waist, the back of your body. Exhale, touching down, and on the inhale, step back to plank pose. Lengthening out of your plank pose from the crown of your head all the way to your heels. Exhale, coming all the way down to the belly. Yogi's choice, touch knees down first, then bend the elbows, or go all in one piece. Set the tops of your feet down. Lengthen your legs, slide your forearms onto the floor, rise up for Sphinx pose. Exhale, lion's breath. Inhale, tongue in, legs long, tailbone reaching back. Exhale, lion's breath again. Inhale, tongue in. Exhale, descend, hands slide back to frame your ribs. Inhale, pressing up through table pose, all fours. Exhale, hips up and back to downward facing dog. Now your knees never have to be straight in down dog and your heels never have to touch the floor. But you might notice that you are breathing and sending that breath up into the space between your shoulder blades. Press down into your palms. See if you can send the floor away from you. Good. On your next inhalation, stepping your left foot forward between the hands. Back knee goes down. On the exhale, left hand to the thigh, twisting to the left. Inhale, breath here. And exhale, raining it out. You can twist to the left more as the air moves out of the belly. And inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fingers come back down to the floor. Lift your back knee. On the inhale, step forward, heart forward away from the thigh bones. Exhale, folding in. But drive down into your legs, sweep arms out and up, rise to stand. Exhale, hands come down to the heart. All the way down. And rest by your sides. Take a breath in and a breath out. And just placing yourself on your mat. Taking in the landscape, the internal environment is part of that. So where the breath is moving, the temperature of your body, your mood. Okay. And when you feel ready, let's step out, wider stance on the mat. Turning your left toes out and your right toes in a few degrees. We're going to bend the left knee over the heel. Float the arms out and then check in to see if your shoulders can stack up over your hips for this warrior two pose. And I'm sure you're doing great, but in case you need to remind yourself of it, we do call yoga a practice for a reason, because it's something we return to again and again. And the goal would not be to get it perfectly, not on the first try, but also not on the 714th try. The practice is to be in the moment-to-moment experience of your breath. So see if that can be even more interesting than exactly where your fingers, your toes, and your eyelashes wind up in the next few moments. We'll take an inhale and rest your back hand, your right hand, down onto the back leg. Reach your left arm up and overhead. If it wants to, it can even arc back, taking you into that side bend away from the left thigh. Now the left thigh is going to want to lift up as you do this. So sit down deeply into your left hip. Plug into your right footprint on the floor and lengthen out of both arms and both sides of the waist. You're going to be here for 3 breaths together. So as you inhale, reach in all directions. And as you exhale, see where you can soften. Doing that again. Inhaling fully out to your heels, your fingers. Exhale, where could you do a little bit less work? Maybe around the shoulders or the back of the neck. Last inhale here. And exhaling completely. Really nice. As you inhale, bring the arms back out to either side of you in Warrior 2. And now as you exhale, left forearm to the left thigh bone. So we're making a little seat here. Take the right arm and slide it across the line of the horizon. You can follow your fingers with your hands until the right arm reaches out over the right ear. Keep your connection down through your right foot, sitting into your left hip, and now lengthen on the inhale in all directions. And just like before on your exhale, where could you do a little bit less? Take another 2 rounds of breath here. Inhale, arms out, straighten through the left leg. And as you exhale, release your hands, turn your left toes in to match your right toes. So all the toes at the same party now. Just for a few breaths, bring your hands behind your back, and you have 3 options. You can lace the fingers together like this. You can bring your fists together behind the back, elbows wide, or you can simply reach back into the space behind you. If you have a strap and you'd like to hold on to a strap, that would be a 4th option. All that we're doing here, giving respect to the joints of the shoulders and the wrists, is opening the front body and sending some energy down through the arms and into the fingers. But if you'd like, on the exhale next, put a little bit of a bend into your knees, hinge your hips back, and fold in half, just so that the belly button is parallel to the floor. Build a little bit of strength as you inhale, sweep the arms wide, and then forward for the front of the room. And as you exhale, bend into your right knee. You let your hips shift over to the right, lengthening out through the left leg. Now let's inhale, center, straightening the right leg, and exhale, bend the left. Keep reaching forward if you're enjoying the heat and the fieriness of this shape. For a little less, bring hands onto the waist. Straighten left leg and right leg. One more time each side. Exhale, bend right knee, shift hips to the right. Inhale, center, long spine and long steady breath. Exhale, bend left knee. Inhale, center. Exhale, drive down into your footprints. Rise up to stand. Good. Turn your right toes out, left toes in a few degrees. Inhale, arms out to either side of the body. Exhale, bending right knee over the heel. Check in with shoulders. Shoulders could stack over hips here. Sitting comfortably into that right hip and extending out through the left foot on the floor. Inhale, let's reach up and back. So right arm toward the sky as the left hand rests down on the leg. And then exhale, maybe you deepen this side bend through the right side of the body. So I do love to think about the lungs and the muscles around the lungs. And as you inhale, can you send more breath to that entire space in the body? So not just the front body, but the sides, and not just the side bodies, but the back. And not just a little slice of the chest, but all the way from the tip of the ribs down to the belly button. Take another full breath in here. And then exhale all the way out. Inhale, coming back to Warrior 2. Exhale. exhale, forearm to thigh bone. Glide the left arm across the horizon. See your own fingers. Remind yourself why you're here. How amazing it is just to have a body that moves and breathes, even though sometimes that's a really tricky thing to navigate. Take 3 rounds of breath here. Extended side angle pose. And remembering that one of the questions we get to ask in a yoga practice is, how comfortable or safe is the possibility that I really experience what I'm feeling? That I don't need to hold it in. So a lot of our work day and a lot of our relationships might require some holding in of things. Sometimes that's a necessity. But when it isn't, how would it feel to really experience how we feel? Come up on an inhale, straighten through both legs, and on an exhale, rest your arms down by your sides. And turn the right toes in, even out through your footprints, your hips. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, folding forward. And this time, just an easy fold as far as you'd like to go. Maybe hands to a chair, or hands to your legs, or hands to the floor. Once you're folded as much as feels good to be folded right now, release the head, the neck. You can shake your head slowly from side to side. Maybe it feels good to sway the upper body a little bit back and forth like an elephant trunk, or like a pendulum. Good, and we'll make our way down to the floor, pausing briefly to practice a yogic squat or Malasana. So begin to heel toe your feet a little closer together. And when the heels are still a bit wider than your hips, toes can be turned out. Sink the hips down any amount. Maybe you want to support yourself up on your thighs. Maybe you can squat down a little deeper. Sometimes a rolled up blanket underneath your heels can be really helpful here. And regardless of how deep or how high the hips are in your squat, you can think about lifting and gathering from the pelvic floor. So think about your sits bones moving toward each other and then elevating up. You can bring your hands together at your heart. Press your elbows out into your knees and hug your knees into your elbows. Lift your spine as you inhale. And then exhale, sigh it out. Good. Use your hands and some support to come all the way back down to the floor. You can come onto your knees or onto your sitting bones. However you want to make the transition. We're going to go back to lying on the back. Ease yourself down. Bring both the knees into your chest. We're going to keep the knees fairly high up toward the chest. And then arms will go out wide as the knees fold over to the right. So just coming into this easy open twist. I'm considering that I might want to reorganize my language when I say things are easy. This isn't an easy shape to be in, certainly for all bodies, and not even, it might not even be easy for any bodies to be in. The idea I like to invoke is that you find a shape where you can experience some degree of ease. So if this isn't it, let's see if we can't make the shape that you do choose a really juicy, comfortable, breathable one. If it's feeling good for your neck and your head, you can look away from your knees, gazing out over the left shoulder. Sometimes it feels nice to rest a hand onto the top leg here, or to sweep that left arm up and back into the space behind you. So lots of ways to experiment, explore, play. Maybe most importantly, a full and complete inhale, a soft and steady exhale. Allowing the remnants of anxiety, stress, tension just start to melt out of the body here. Take another full breath in. And then exhale to roll your knees back up over your hips. Let's pause to find center. Sit your feet down, wiggle your spine. Place yourself on that little hiking mat. You're taking in a new scenic viewpoint. What's it like right at this moment in your body? And we're letting that be enough. It's all good information. When you're ready, you can bring your knees back up into the chest, arms wide, and this time legs fall to the left side. You can direct your breath gently and tenderly into this right side of the body. That's really where we're making a lot of extra space to receive the inhales, to be nourished by the exhales. Your eyes are open right now, just taking in whatever it is that you can see as best you can without needing to tell the whole story of that thing. If the eyes are closed, maybe you can visualize where the breath is moving to surround the right shoulder, right hip, right side of the low belly. Take one more inhale in your twist. And then exhale to roll back to center. If you'd like to finish with happy baby pose, put the soles of your feet up toward the floor, bend your knees towards your armpits. Some of us can reach up and hold onto ankles or even outer edges of the feet. Now take your tailbone and curl the tailbone down toward the floor, so resisting the temptation that your low back here has to curl up toward the ceiling, instead lengthening the low back, making that little bit of space maybe between the low back and the floor. A natural lumbar curve stays. You can rock your happy baby from side to side, or just deepen into the space of stillness here. Pressing your feet into your hands. Try and make footprints on the ceiling at the same time as you use the strength of the arms to draw the knees down. Softening through the face, the forehead, the throat. Last breath in, and exhale, release. Let's set the body all the way down for Shavasana. So coming into a restful pose that's workable for where you are now. Maybe that's on the floor, maybe that's in a chair. Take the time that you need to support your body here. If you have a rolled blanket that you like to put under the backs of your legs, or to support your head or neck. And then just like you did at the beginning of your practice, letting your awareness drop down into the body in this moment. Not for the purpose of fixing or changing anything, but just so you can really come home to yourself in a practice of rest. We can appreciate and send a lot of affection for our nervous system and all of the things it does for us, including the necessary parts of the nervous system that send us stress signals. We need the stress response so that we can arrive present, alert, awake, and that we can have our responses be maybe as quick as the situation demands. What we don't need to do is be in our active stress response all of the time. So sometimes just expressing the appreciation for what your body has done for you, for the times that you needed to be right on top of things, can allow that part of the nervous system to kind of hop over into the back seat. And just for a few breaths together here, we'll see if we can encourage the body through a slow, steady breath. Something close to stillness, to experience really deep relaxation and rest. Know that if your body has an experience of pain, even during Shavasana, if you deal with chronic pain, if the body doesn't really register this as a comfortable moment, that doesn't preclude you from receiving deep rest. So the body is where it is, and to the best of our abilities, all that we need to do is step out of our own way, which sometimes means just stepping out of the narrative or the flow of our own thoughts. If it's helpful to you to rest your mind at a specific point, to come into that relaxation, I will recommend anywhere where your body is making contact with the surface right now. Whether that's the back of your head against the floor, or your seat on a chair, or your hands resting in your lap. See if you can set the mind down there. Fill your body with breath and let it go. And do this again. Fill your body with breath and let it go. You can begin to explore your way back toward movement slowly, without any sense of urgency. Maybe it's a little wiggle of your fingers, your toes, a little flutter of your eyelids. Just gradually expanding your movements. Take up all the space that you need to inhabit your body. And as you're beginning to come towards your seat where you'll finish practice, so for friends on the floor, maybe that means a slow roll onto your side and then a steady transition to upright. So having a sense of locating yourself again on the mat. Coming into your inner landscape. Seeing where that inner landscape lines up with the outer world. Sometimes the two overlap really nicely, and sometimes it's like you've been on two different hikes. Your inner world and your outer world will not always be in the same place at the same time. That's okay. Just having a space to recognize that and to appreciate where you have been, where your practice has taken you, the efforts that you've made. Maybe some appreciation for those viewpoints along the way, scenic pauses. And you can know that your yoga practice, even if it is just that brief moment to take a deeper breath or to roll out your wrists, that's available to you no matter where you are along your day. You can have a little scenic rest stop and check in. And appreciation for all of you, and thanks for joining us today. You can bring your hands together at your heart. We'll close with a breath in through the nose and a big sigh out through the mouth. Thank you all for sharing your practice.